Hello, my name is Kristen Jowie, and I'm the Edmonds College Foundation Scholarship Administrator. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the Foundation Scholarship application, give you some tips on how to fill the application out, and share with you the rubrics that reviewers will use to rate your application. We use a software called AwardSpring for our applications. The login for our application site is different than your Edmonds login. If you've applied in the past, your login information still exists. If you don't know your password, you can click Forgot Password, and the system will send you an email to reset your password. If this is your first time applying, click Register to create an account. Our application is broken into 6 sections. Before you begin, general information, academic learning and reflection, financial need information, qualification questions, and planning for the future. In this video, I'll talk about each section, but not necessarily every question. Each section has a series of different types of questions, from simple yes/no questions to fill in the blank to essays. Start your application early so that you can work through each section at your own pace and have enough time for revisions. Please be mindful of using something you've already written for another application. Every scholarship application is a little different, so you want to be sure that you are submitting information that addresses the questions being asked. That'll give you the best chance of getting a high score in your application. Lastly, throughout the application, you'll see blue text. Don't ignore it. It's information you need to fill out the application. The first section is the Before You Begin section. This section is really intended to help you get started. The most important information in this section is that the scholarship deadline is March 31st at 11:59 p.m. I tell you how to get your Edmonds College student ID number if you don't already know it, how to access your unofficial transcripts if you're an Edmonds College student. There's a link to the rubrics, and at the bottom there's information on how to contact me, as well as how to contact the Learning Support Center. In the general information section, this is where we ask you the basics about who you are and how we can connect with you. If you don't yet have an Edmonds College student ID number, please put New Student. Please put email addresses and phone numbers that you check regularly. If I can't get a hold of you to let you know that you've been awarded a scholarship, I'll need to move on to award it to the next deserving student. In the Academic Learning and Reflection section, we want to know more about you as a student. This section is worth 30 points on our rubrics. The first question in this section is, what will your academic status be in 2022-2023? So here, I want to know what level of student you'll be in summer quarter 2022 to spring quarter 2023. What level of student you are right now might not be the level of student you'll be then. Some examples of how you would answer this are, if you are a current high school senior who will be a first-year college student in summer 2022 to spring 2023, you'd select high school senior anticipating beginning at Edmonds College in summer-fall 2022. If you hadn't taken any college courses, or maybe you've only done a quarter or two, you'd select first-year college student. If you're halfway through your program or more, you'd select second-year college student. You might notice that the academic status question has a white background, where the what degree are you pursuing in 2022-2023 academic year has a yellow background. That's because I clicked a response on the academic status question, but not on the degree question. So this is a helpful way for you to know which questions you haven't answered yet, because it has a yellow background. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see some blue text. This relates to the question, majors and/or certificates pursuing. If I click on this, you'll see Accounting AAST, Accounting ATA, or Accounting Cert. This is acronyms for each type of degree or certificate offered at Edmonds College. So we put this information here just in case you don't know what that means. And if you want more information about the programs, you can click this Please Click Here to get to the academic catalog. In this question, what is your estimated graduation or completion date from Edmonds College? Please put the actual quarter, so summer, fall, winter, spring, and then the year. So now we've got some questions about cumulative GPA. To find your cumulative GPA, you would get this information off of your unofficial transcripts. For current Edmonds College students, log into CTC link and go to Student Self-Service under the Academic Records tile. You'll be able to download unofficial transcripts from there. Your cumulative GPA is in the lower right-hand corner. If you're not an Edmonds College student, then please upload your most recent transcripts and use that cumulative GPA. If you have transcripts that are not on a 4.0 scale, please contact me so that we can convert your GPA to the 4.0 scale. If you need to do this, please do not wait until the last minute, as it can take some time to figure that out. Underneath this question, there is an upload file button so that you can upload your transcripts. The last question in this section is an essay question where we ask you to talk about your academic experience. We know that GPA does not represent your total learning. Maybe you were enrolled in college 20 years ago and totally flopped, and you're back now and getting great grades, but your grades from 20 years ago are bringing your GPA down. Or maybe you had a really tough quarter for personal reasons, or the classes were particularly difficult, so your GPA is lower than you'd like. Maybe you took a random class that ended up changing your life and you switched your program of study. Maybe you did an unpaid internship that doesn't show up on your transcripts, but you got real-world experience from it. Everyone's educational journey is different, and we wanted to give you space to talk about that. You'll see in the rubrics that we do take GPA into account for your score, but we're more interested to know about your academic experience and, most importantly, how you're thinking critically about it. I highly suggest writing at least 150 words for this section, and this is definitely a question that I would put into a Word document so that you can write your answer and then edit it. Here's your first plug for the Learning Support Center. The LSC has a fantastic group of staff that is available to help you edit your essays, so please reach out to them. I'll share their contact information with you later in this video. The next section is our financial needs section. This section is worth 40 points on our rubric. Everyone's financial circumstances are different, and that impacts how you're going to pay for school. We do have limited scholarships, so we try to get our scholarships to the students who need them most. I want to draw your attention to the educational cost blue text section. This is super important, so be sure to read it. The question that follows the blue text is asking you what your estimated educational costs are for the entire 2022-2023 academic year. We consider educational costs to be tuition and fees, books, and supplies. You can determine tuition and fees by looking at the college's tuition and fee information, which I've linked in the application. We're using $1,400 as an approximate of how much a year's worth of supplies might be. So let's look at the college's tuition and fees page. If you scroll down, you're going to see two blue boxes, one for regular tuition and one for Bachelor's of Applied Science tuition. If you're a BIS student, go ahead and use that box. For everybody else, use the regular tuition box. So you should find the number of credits you'll take in a quarter and then multiply it by the number of quarters you anticipate taking in 22-23. So let's say I'm paying resident tuition and I'm planning to take 16 credits for fall, winter, and spring. I've found the 16 credit line and it's about $1,500. So I'm going to multiply that by 3 to get about $4,500. If I add $1,400 to that for my supplies, my total educational costs are $5,900 for 22-23. So I've put that into the application. Please use this formula to answer this question. It might feel like you should put a super high number here, so it looks like you have an astronomically high educational cost and therefore high financial need. However, reviewers are given the same information that I'm giving you now, so if you put a really high number, you're actually hurting your chances of receiving a high score in this section because reviewers know how much it costs to attend, and putting a different number will confuse them. So be realistic. The next question in this section is how will you cover your educational expenses? There are so many options out there to cover educational expenses that we can't list them all. Some examples would be you're paying for college through your own wages, that your parents are helping you pay for school, that you have worker retraining funding, Maybe you have other grants or scholarships, or you're taking out student loans. So go ahead and list all the possible ways you'll pay for school here. The last question in this section that I want to draw your attention to is the essay question. This essay question is asking you to describe circumstances that you have that affect your ability to pay for college expenses. Some circumstances might be family obligations, job loss, or other financial responsibilities. We also want to know how you will pay for school if you do not receive a scholarship. If you've ever filled out a FAFSA or WASFA application, you might have felt like there was more information you wish you could have given. We get that. We want to give you space to give any information pertaining to your financial situation that you would like reviewers to know. Again, I highly suggest writing at least 150 words for this section, and this is another question that I would recommend putting into a Word document so that you can write your answer and then edit. Here's your second plug for the Learning Support Center. Remember, they're available to help you edit your essays. The next section is qualification questions. This section probably seems like it has a lot of random questions to it, and that's because it does. These are the questions we use to help us match you with scholarships that you qualify for. Just to give you an idea, we have some scholarships that are for Edmonds School District high school graduates, scholarships meant for second-year students, scholarships meant for veterans of specific branches, scholarships for students who plan to go into the aerospace field, scholarships for students that are LPN students, all kinds of scholarships. Some of these questions might feel very personal, so I want to let you know that reviewers don't see your answers to these questions, only I do, and I only use this information to match you with scholarships. We're at the last section of the application. This section is worth 30 points on our rubric. In this section, you'll see questions about your academic and career goals, how you make positive differences in your community, and how a scholarship or degree or certificate from Edmonds College will help you achieve your goals. So a couple of things. These are intended to be short essay questions. Please write a minimum of 75 to 100 words for each section. I've put that after each question to remind you to do so. This is another section where I would recommend pulling all of these questions out and putting them into a Word document so that you're able to write your responses and edit. Reminder, the Learning Support Center is available to help you edit your essays. Instead of doing one long essay this year, we've broken up the questions to make sure you address each one. When addressing each question, be sure to put equal effort into each one. There will probably be some overlap in your responses, but please do not copy and paste your answers from one section to another. The questions are all related, but each question is unique, and that should come with a unique answer. So let's take a look at the questions. The first one is, what are your career goals? What are your educational goals? How do you plan to achieve those career and educational goals? If your answer is, I don't know yet, that's all right. Not everyone has a clear destination already. But be prepared to talk about what possibilities you are exploring and why they might interest you. Here are some examples. You could say you think you want to work in a museum, but you aren't totally sure in what capacity yet. That working at a museum appeals to you because you're very interested in history and you like to share your knowledge with other people. Ideally, you'd like to be more of a behind-the-scenes person, maybe working with artifacts, than someone who is working with big crowds. Or maybe you're currently in the pre-college program at Edmonds College, and your next step in your educational pathway is to enroll in the Culinary Arts Transfer Degree program. You're also thinking about adding on the Mobile Food Entrepreneur Certificate program because you plan to open up your own food truck business eventually. Or maybe you've been working at a company for the last 15 years as a human resources person, and you've become interested in IT after working with companies in your current line of work. You're coming back to school now to study networking so that you can have a career change from human resources to network engineer. You are taking courses towards Computer Information Systems Associate's degree and are thinking about adding the Cybersecurity Specialist certificate because that makes you more marketable in your job search. The next question asks you about your experiences, influences, or interests that have led you to pursue your current education or career passions. So if you're that student who wants to open up a food truck business, talk about why that appeals to you. Maybe you love to cook and share food with people, and you see owning a food truck as a way to reach a lot of different people with less business overhead. If you're a student who is switching careers, you could talk about why you're making the career shift and what made you choose your new career. The next question asks you to talk about challenges you've had while pursuing your educational and career goals. Maybe you've had a difficult time getting the classes you need at the time you're able to take them because you work full time. Maybe you've had to prioritize your kids, so your education and career goals have waited until you've been able to carve out time to pursue your own goals. Maybe you immigrated from another country where you already had degrees, but now you need to have additional training in order to continue your line of work in the US. The next question asks what positive differences you're making in your community. I think people often think this means what volunteer roles have you done? And if you are actively participating in volunteer roles, please talk about them. But if your contribution is that you're caring for your elderly parent, that's definitely making a positive difference in your community. Or maybe you're a baseball coach for your son's baseball team. That's making a positive difference too. Or maybe you're helping your younger siblings with their homework. That's a positive difference. Or maybe you have 4 kids and all you have time for right now is to make sure they're good humans. That's still making a positive difference. The last question is to talk about how the Foundation Scholarship and your degree or certificate from Edmonds College will help you achieve your goals. You've probably already covered some of this in the previous questions, but this is a space to let us know anything else relating to how a scholarship or your degree will help you move forward with your goals that you haven't already shared with us. So that's a quick overview of our application. Let's switch over to look at the rubrics. You can find a link to the rubrics in the Before You Begin section of the application, as well as on our website at edmonds.edu/foundation. So these are our rubrics. As I mentioned before, the Academic Learning and Experiences section is worth 30 points. The Financial Need section is worth 40 points, and the Planning for the Future section is worth 30 points. This is the exact set of rubrics that I will share with reviewers when it's time to begin scoring. There's no mysteries here. We want you to know exactly what we're scoring you on. And just to let you know, each application is scored by 3 different reviewers. So what you should take away from the rubrics is that a high-scoring application should have specific examples that directly relate to the questions being asked and well-thought-out answers. I can't recommend enough having someone else read your application answers before you submit them. Someone else will be able to tell you that you need more information here, that this idea doesn't make sense, or something you wrote doesn't answer the question being asked. I'm available for general application questions, and the Stellar Learning Support Center staff are ready and willing to help you edit your application. If you aren't comfortable talking with me or someone from the LSC, please have someone you trust review your application. A second set of eyes never hurts. My other advice is don't submit your application right away. You've got plenty of time. Finish filling it out, do an edit, leave it for a few days, and come back to it when you're fresh. Whenever I do this method, I always find things to tweak that make whatever I'm working on better. So now that we've looked over the application and rubrics, I want to let you know how to get in touch with me. On this screen, you'll see my contact information, as well as the information for the Learning Support Center. I'm happy to chat with you over email or set up some time on Zoom for us to take a look at your application and go over any questions you might have. The Learning Support Center staff are happy to help you edit your application and give some feedback. Good luck!